Hi, welcome! A couple of years ago I made a video about training as a Rio as a single player. The idea could be used for any fighter really, and it showed how easy it was creating a training template in a mission editor. Let's take a step further now, and let's see how, in literally a couple of minutes, we can create a potentially very complex training mission. The baseline idea is simple, randomizing the aircraft that spawn against you by using a couple of triggers. Up to here, nothing new, very simple, several missions and scripts do that already. However, as you probably know, I always prefer to make my own tools, tailor around my needs, whether they be an e-board pack, a training mission, or even my cockpit. The issue with many scripts, in fact, is that not all of them allow you to tailor the mission to emphasize the topic you want to train in that particular moment, or simply make it potentially so complex to be frustrating. This can be achieved instead by spending a couple of minutes to set up a basic template, which then can be changed depending on your needs. Let's start with the simplest example. We want to face a different target every time. To do that, we spawn our beloved F-14A as client, assign some random weapons and create the first hostile. Let's give it a name and remember to check late activation. This is important. Next, copy and paste it, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. And we can change then more details such as payloads, aircraft type, whatever you want. The last step is setting up the triggers that will randomly activate the group. This is very simple. We have created 4 aircraft, so we want to set the upper limit to 3. The generated value will be then between 0 and 3, extremes included. In this case, flag 1 is the variable that contains the randomized value. Next, we create a trigger that activates the group depending on the value generated. We clone it 4 times, adjusting the flag for the spawn group, and done. This is the simplest example. The advantage of making our own mission is that we can make it as complex and unexpected as we want, since we never know what will be generated. Therefore, the scenario can be transformed from a Forrest Gump box of chocolates to a sweet and juicy sadistic experience. Let's see another example. In premise, let's get rid of the cap tasking. This option makes the hostile gate towards you, which is not really smart. I prefer a dedicated waypoint at which the AI starts its intercept. This allows me to add additional steer points in between spawn and intercept, where the target can accelerate, dive, climb, maneuver, activate its radar, turn on its jamming devices, and do all sorts of filthy things. This scenario now has 4 aircraft entering and leaving the 0 Doppler and the mail-up clutter regions, but I do not know which one will appear every time. I used a similar mission for hundreds of hours to get more familiar with the OG9, observing the blind zones on the scopes, adjusting my intercept depending on the behavior of the target, and so on. I'm sure you're now starting to see how things can become very complex very quickly. Some examples. You can spawn targets with the radar off until the intercept to make their RWR even more useless. You can spawn the targets in 0 Doppler or main-lobe clutter regions or beyond the terrain, have them pop up or maneuver. This is a great way to improve basic radar management and sensors awareness. You can mix singletons and sections. You won't know if the scenario is a 1v1 or a 1v2, especially if one target is hiding from your radar. You can have targets spawning with a wide horizontal separation, or in a stack, or both, so they won't fit intact with scan. If you are in a 1v2 scenario and can't engage both hostiles at the same time, which one should be engaged first? This situation forces the Rio to make choices quickly. You can move the scenario feed dry overland to make the detection of low contact harder, because the MLC switch won't be as useful as before. You can tailor the employment range, the ECM usage and so on. Nothing is better than a target engaging turquoise scan randomly blinking its jammer, and you won't even know if the target will do it in the first place. So what do? Do you adopt a different timeline or change your intercept, or stick to the original plan? Using the triggers, you can activate multiple groups at the same time. If you combine these with targets spawning in a radar blind spot, the scenario can become very challenging very quickly. You can also change the spawning percentage to 80% or 90%, for example, just to make you always wonder if a target that you can't find is creeping up your 6, or is missing altogether. Don't tune the link for A on the AWACS frequency for extra suspense. Playing with all these options takes just a few minutes, and if you have saved a basic template mission initially, you can fork it and quickly change the scenario to tailor the aspect that you want to train in that particular moment. As you have seen, this is nothing new or complex, but this is how I train and I keep my proficiency up. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching and take care.